Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Atlanta Influential, a series where I sit down and have conversations with Atlanta influencers with the most thrilling careers. I'm your host, Tianne Johnson, and today I'm joined by none other than the powerhouse herself, Miss Pinky Cole. Pinky Cole is the owner and operator of Slutty Vegan, a plant-based burger restaurant chain here in Atlanta, Georgia, and a plant-based bar called Bar Vegan, which is located at Ponce City Market. As a Clark Atlanta University alum, Pinky Cole has given back to her community over and over again. She was most recently named one of Atlanta's top 50 most powerful people by the Atlantan magazine, and also donned a cover of Essence magazine with her partner, Derek Hayes. Derek Hayes is also a restaurateur and the owner of Big Dave's Cheesesteaks here in Atlanta, Georgia. In a recent project, Pinky also collaborated with Steve Madden on the first ever PETA-approved vegan sneaker. So yes, I'm so glad to be here with you, Pinky. Can you tell us how you're doing today? How are you feeling?
I'm doing very well, and I'm excited to have this conversation with you and to dig in. I'm in a really good season in my life, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So I'm just taking it all in and just blessed all the way around.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Seems like there's so many blessings coming your way, and it seems totally deserved. So yeah, a question that I'm sure a lot of people have is, before becoming a restaurateur, before becoming the owner of Slutty Vegan, what were you doing? You know, who were you before then?
So I was always a hustler, always a go-getter. But by trade, I was a television producer, and not many people know that. I worked in the television industry for about 10 years. So I was a producer for The Maury Show. I was a casting director, a producer for some other shows. And I really had a fulfilling career. I felt like I had my dream job. But what I didn't realize is that I was preparing for my real dream job, and that was Slutty Vegan. So TV was always my strong suit. One thing I like to do is run my mouth, and I like to talk to people, and I like to put stories together. And I use the skills that I learned working in TV, and I transitioned them working into the restaurant industry, which is why you see a lot of our marketing over the top because of my TV experience. But yeah, I had a whole nother life before this. And, you know, it's interesting because now I get to do all the things that I was doing in TV, and I get to merge them into the restaurant sector. And that is really, really cool.
That's amazing. So what kind of skills, more specifically, what kind of skills did you get then that are still being used now?
Well, I know what people want to see. I know what they pay attention to. I know what's going to make them change the channel. You ever watch a TV show and like it's not punchy enough, so you turn the channel. Like, I know what's going to make people pay attention. And what makes people pay attention is that raw dialect, throwing something in people's face and requiring them to ask questions. And that's why TV works. And that's why Slutty Vegan works, because I use that same model and formula to get people to understand that, like, it got to be racy in order to make you spark dialogue. And I do that with Slutty Vegan, hence the name Slutty. If I would have named Slutty Vegan Pinky's Vegan, I probably wouldn't nearly have as many people supporting the brand. But I made something so racy that it made you want to ask questions. And I got all of that literally working in TV.
That's amazing. Yeah, like, you got to learn to take risks, be bold. I think TV definitely teaches you that. So how did you go from TV and what you were doing to food? How did you bring those two together?
So while I was working in TV, I got an opportunity to open up my first restaurant. It was called Pinky's Jamaican and American Restaurant. Now, I also had lines, not Slutty Vegan lines, but people were coming to support the brand. And I realized, like, okay, I could do this restaurant thing. I wasn't the best at it, but like, I did something right, and I created an experience that people wanted to be a part of. So unfortunately, I had a grease fire, and I lost everything in that grease fire. So I had to walk away from that business. And then I jumped back into TV. So while I was working as a casting director for a show on the OWN network, I temporarily relocated to Atlanta. And while I was in Atlanta, that is when I came up with Slutty Vegan. Again, this was just one of those bedroom ideas that came to me. And I was solving a personal problem. I wanted some vegan food on a late night, and I was tired of eating fries and a side salad. And when I came up with the idea, it literally was just, the timing was everything. You know how sometimes like you go through life and like timing is just like perfect. It couldn't be any better. It was the perfect timing. We were living in a time where people wanted to start being healthier, but they didn't know how. I moved to a new city. again, Atlanta, even though I lived in Atlanta before, and I realized that there weren't many vegan options, and the vegan options they had were good, but they closed early. So that timing couldn't have been better. And I got into the kitchen, started making up recipes, started researching, and the rest is history. And now here we have Slutty Vegan.
I'm so glad you said a side salad and some fries, because that has been my life.
Are you vegan?
I was vegan for a year, and then I went vegetarian for about 8 years. And I started in high school. And I grew up in Dallas, Texas. My family's from New Orleans, so we like meat, we like seafood. So it was hard. I was eating Chipotle every day, going to restaurants with family, ordering from the sides. But yeah, I'm really grateful for places like Slutty Vegan, because we need it. Can't always be having sides to fill us up. Sometimes we need something more filling, and we want the pleasure of a burger every now and again. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So was it always easy, or how did you start? Were you in your bedroom? You said you were starting in your apartment. Let's talk about the food trucks. What did it look like in the beginning?
It was always easy for me because I grew up as a vegetarian, right? My mother was vegetarian, so I ate what she ate, and I'm Jamaican. So like we had rice and peas every day. So like I just got accustomed to that lifestyle. So when I started Slutty Vegan, I had already been vegan for a few years, and my journey to veganism was an easy transition for me. So I was really able to do what I normally do in my regular day life. My friends came around, I cooked vegan food for them. And it just worked out that way. And I see the difference because my first restaurant, I was selling meat. I was selling oxtails and jerk chicken, and I didn't even eat that stuff. So I was living a lie, right? Like I'm telling people that it tastes good, and like I didn't eat it. And I realized that once I started walking in alignment and started serving the food to the people that I consume, then it became more successful. So with that research, I had something that people were attracted to. And then I realized that, okay, this is bigger than burgers, pies, and fries. People want to be a part of this brand. And being a part of the brand really meant that they were supportive of all the things that this young African-American woman was doing. And they wanted to be a part of that journey and that growth too. So I ended up getting a food truck, didn't know anything about a food truck, but I got it. It worked out for me in a major way because I ended up going from having 50 people standing in line at the ghost kitchen to about 300 to 500 every single day, standing with lawn chairs, with computers, with their children, just standing to support me and willing to wait in line for 4 to 5 hours to get food. And I'm like, okay, I got something really, really unique here. And what it is I was helping people to reimagine food, and I still do that today. So now here we have so many people who are meat eaters that are open to the idea of opening up their consciousness because they realize that like, I want to live better. I want to be healthier. I want to do something different, even if it starts at vegan comfort food. And Slutty Vegan has been able to be an anchor, not just for the people, but for the big corporations who were afraid to put vegan options on their menu. Right. And now all of a sudden you see vegan options everywhere, which I can now appreciate because just like you said, we no longer have to eat a side salad and fries anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. And you definitely have more meat eaters eating vegan food than I ever would have expected to see. So like, how do you think you did that? Like, what's the secret ingredient? What's the secret sauce?
It is the experience. What we do well is we give an experience that's so unforgettable. So if you are familiar with Hershey Park, King's Dominion, Adventure World, all of the places that we grew up going to, Six Flags, that's the kind of experience that we create. So people come for the experience and they leave with the food. And what that tells you is that people just want to feel good. And we make the food with love. Like everything that I do has to be authentic. It got to be real. And I want people to feel like they're a part of it and make that connection with them. So from the external customer to the internal customer, which is the employee, we make people understand that this is a family. And when people feel like they can walk into a familial environment, then they're comfortable, then they're relaxed, and it makes them love it and go out and tell their friends like, hey, you got to go try Slutty Vegan. The experience is crazy. And because we do that, it has become a cult favorite and a word of mouth business that everybody wants to be a part of. So I think that that is really one of the main ingredients. The other two is our marketing. We really go crazy with the marketing and drive traffic to the business. And then the last piece is our community initiatives. Like we build an ecosystem for people to be able to like thrive and grow and do all the things that they want to do. And that's in building generational wealth. So everywhere we go, we provide opportunities for the people around us to be good. And what it does is it really just creates a safe space for people to say, you know what, we want to support this sister, we want to support this business, and we're going to make sure that this business stays in business because of all that she does in the community. So those are like the top three.
Yeah, and you can tell Slutty Vegan has always been a community, very community centric. But when you think about your personal journey, the intimate journey of getting to where you've been, is like, who sticks out in your head that helped you to get to where you are?
There's a lot of people that helped me along my journey. I'd be lying if I say here, I'm like, yeah, I did all this by myself. That's not true. I have some key employees. I have my booking directors. I have my business managers, my tour directors, my number two, my CRO. Those are the people that really like help to get us where we are. And I'm forever grateful for them, because although it's a professional relationship, we have become family. We have become family because they believe in this mission, just like I believe in this mission. And I'm excited to know that there are people that are willing to go to bat for you to help you get to the next level for a business that they don't even own. And eventually what I did is I gave them equity in the company because of how much they've done for me, into helping grow this empire. And although we are nowhere near where we want to be yet, we have come a long way, and it's because of my tribe and the people on the ground, and not even just them. Like, I really have some diehard employees that really like care about this business and treat it like their own. And people like that help for you to have a sustainable business and a business that will make people want to come and work for the company. So I'm grateful for the people that I have. I'm grateful for my family who supported me since day one. I'm grateful for the haters, because you always need them too. Right? That didn't believe in the idea, because now what that did is it put a battery on my back and made me want to go harder to prove not to them, but to myself that I could do it. But yeah, I'm just happy about the transition that has happened in my business. And I'm happy that the people who love me and love the brand have been here since the very beginning and continue to stay here. And I know they'll be here in the future.
Wow, that's beautiful. I'm glad you've had that tribe to take you all the way from the beginning until now. So you were able to give us Slutty Vegan. But you mentioned haters. So let's talk about the people who maybe didn't believe in your path to success and the struggles that brought up. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So let me expound on the hater conversation. So many people say, like, don't have no hate. Listen, I love me a hater. You know what a hater is? A hater is just a secret fan. Okay. And a hater is somebody that allows you to better dissect your business. So when people don't either like the name, they don't like the business, or they just intentionally just voicing their frustrations based on their fears and their projections, it gives me an opportunity to take a deeper dive in my business, and use those negative suggestions and turn it into a positive. And I think sometimes having a hater, we're going to call them a secret fan in this case, is necessary, because it allows you to like look at the things and pay attention to the things that you probably would have paid attention to before. So I'll give you an example. All of the times that people have told me no, or we can't do this because of the name, or I don't like it, we don't want to use it. I'm like, okay, thank you. You know what it did? It made me want to go harder. It made me want to achieve the things that people felt like were impossible. But I realized, no, this is not impossible. It's impossible to you, but it ain't impossible to me. I just got to work a little harder, and I got to take a different route or take another avenue, but I'm going to get there. And when I got there, it will feel so much better. So if you are in business and you're watching this as an entrepreneur, there are going to be people in your life, even family members, because I got family members that didn't believe. And now they're asking me, well, how did you do it? Those are the people that you need sometimes, because it'll keep you on your toes. You'll never have an opportunity to get comfortable. And in this business, I have never gotten comfortable. And I'm happy about that, because comfortability only stagnates a business. And I'm not trying to stagnate my business. I'm trying to keep growing and turn this company into $1 billion company for not only just my family, but for the people to see possibility that Pinky Cole did it, I can do it too.
Yeah. Wow. Everything you said, I'm like, Jim, like, you're so inspiring. And I'm definitely nowhere near, where you are in your career, but just something you said that I relate to is the aspect of like, a no isn't a no, because it's your journey. So I think in my journey and getting to where I want to be, the greatest piece of advice I've learned from my mom, because she's very similar to you, she's an entrepreneur, is, a no you just have to take it in your own way and take it as constructive and use it as a tool to grow. So, and I definitely look up to that attitude and that mentality, because that's what, you know, can definitely keep someone growing instead of knocking them down. So yeah. How did you get the name Slutty Vegan? I know you said you worked in TV and you know the importance of being racy and being bold, but how specifically did you get the name Slutty Vegan?
So I was in my bedroom one day and it just hit me like a light bulb. Let me tell you something. The most organic ideas and the ideas that you are supposed to pursue and follow really just come out of nowhere. Like there's no long planning, no process for it. And I was sitting in my bedroom one day and I'm an idea machine. I'm always coming up with new ideas. And the idea hit me out of nowhere, Slutty Vegan. And I'm like, damn, this is a good idea. And it was so good that I didn't want to share it. That's how I knew it was good, because I'm usually always sharing all my ideas. And I called my closest friends, I called my best friends, and I asked them what they thought about it. And they absolutely loved it. And that was confirmation. First, my confirmation from God, because the Spirit gave me that idea. And then my friends confirmed, and I'm like, you know what, this is it. And I'm so happy that I was able to come up with that name. It's not often that you put vegan and slutty in the same sentence, right? But as a vegan, I realized that people always have this misconception that vegan is boring. Oh, you're too sophisticated because you're vegan. The food is nasty. It's flavorless. And that ain't the truth. So I wanted to add a little sassiness to what the vegan lifestyle and the vegan movement was. And I did that with the name. And I'm so happy that I did, because I've literally redefined what vegan living looks and feel like. And, people laugh and say, like, you are the Harriet Tubman of vegan food. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take that as a compliment because I'm freeing the people. However, it feels good to know that people are now more interested in vegan food, all because of a name. So there's power in a name. There's power in words, and I'm utilizing that power for good. And it's all about how you identify things in your psyche, because at first people was like, slutty, oh no, I don't want to be associated with that. But then they realized that the concept didn't have anything to do with sex at all. It was just a way to drive you in. And once I got you in and got your attention, now I can teach you about veganism through that experience that I was talking to you about when you come into my restaurant.
That's dope. Slutty Vegan is definitely a household name now. And I think because it speaks to you, it's very craveable. You want to go in and see what it's about, so definitely props to you for coming up with that idea. But you made me think of something specific, the LLCs that you've given to the Clark Atlanta University class of 2022 graduates, and the importance of coming up with a name that speaks to you, like what advice would you give to not only those graduates, but young people who are new business owners who are starting an LLC, and how to make it stick, how to make people watch?
That's a very good question. So I first want to talk about the LLCs. That was a great experience for me, being able to go back to my alma mater 13 years later and talk to over 2,000 people in a stadium about failing, telling them to find aspiration in the losses, and it's okay to have speed bumps, and you're going to go through some stuff along the way, but you're going to get through it and you're going to come out at the top. So that felt good to me. And then advice that I would give to people who are new entrepreneurs is like, stop, relax, and realize that your journey doesn't have a timeline on it. I think that so often people feel like we got to get things done right now. And I used to be like that too. Like, if it doesn't happen right now, then it's not going to work out, because I see somebody over here that's my same age that I went to school with that's doing something super big and I'm not there yet. Do it on your own time. Do it on your own terms, because your journey is different from the journey of the person that's right next to you. But your journey is so special because God didn't want you to have that at this moment. When the timing is right, you're going to have every single thing that you prayed for, but you can't force it. You can't stress it. You got to go with the motions, and you got to be able to be prepared when the opportunity comes to you. And that opportunity can come at any time. People don't realize that your opportunity can come in the bathroom, in an elevator, when you're just randomly walking down the street and somebody is saying, hey, I got a really good opportunity. I need you. So being prepared for all of the opportunities as an entrepreneur is one of the key things that you can focus on, but understanding that you don't have to rush your timeline, because some people have made it when they're 55 years old and some people made it when they're 18. So as long as you do it on your own time and pace yourself and be consistent, you're going to be all right.
Exactly. Yeah. And I definitely jumped into that conversation about, the LLCs you gave to the grads, but I want to talk about that a little bit more because for the people watching, if you're not aware, Pinky Cole is an alumna of Clark Atlanta University. And she has given back to the students there so many times by paying off the tuition balances of over 30 students in 2019 and also gifting LLCs to the graduating class of 2022. So can you talk a bit about the relationship you have with your community and how that community has played a role in your success?
I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for the community, if it wasn't for the city of Atlanta. I think that Slutty Vegan wouldn't have been as successful had I started this concept anywhere else. There's a special place in my heart for Atlanta, especially because there are so many young, successful Black African-American people here who are moving and shaking and being an inspiration to everybody around you, right? So that community element is very key to me. I always tell people that the burgers, fries, and pies is great, right? Slutty Vegan is a great company, but the fact that I could tap into the community in a way that I have been able to do just tells me that like people really care about the work that I'm doing in the city. And although I'm not a politician, I have no desire to be well, let me not say that. I have no desire right now to be a politician. I get to do the work and really touch the people and really provide them with resources through my foundation. And that feels really good to me because I grew up helping people. I grew up watching my mother helping people. And to be able to do that and to get the support from the city like I do, that feels good. When I tell you the city of Atlanta loves me, and I don't take it for granted. And I love the city of Atlanta because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to keep my lights on. I wouldn't be able to open up multiple locations. I wouldn't be able to have conversations like this with you. But they support me just like I support them. So it's a two-way street. And I love this city so much. And I'm so happy to be a transplant of Atlanta. Originally, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and I love my city. But Atlanta has really done so much for me in my career professionally. And this is home. And I'm just happy to call Atlanta home.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to ask where you're from. So Baltimore, Maryland. I definitely see you, as many people probably see you as Atlanta sweetheart. So I think Atlanta has definitely
Atlanta piece too.
Yes, exactly. So was it at Clark Atlanta that you learned the tools for entrepreneurial success, or at what point do you think you kind of gained those skills?
I've been an entrepreneur since I was born. My father was an entrepreneur. And although he went to jail prison for 22 years, he told me a lot about entrepreneurship behind bars. So I've been doing this for a very long time. So this is just a more professional, accelerated way to be an entrepreneur for me because I've been gearing up all of my life for this. I remember when I was a little girl and I used to say, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna be a star. I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. And I didn't know what I was talking about, but I knew what I was talking about. I knew that like I was preparing my mind, my spirit, and my body for what you see today.
What advice would you give to those of us who have a similar dream of becoming financially free, creating generational wealth, and utilizing those same tools of entrepreneurship?
Follow the people that you want to be like. So, I always research the people who I want to stand alongside. So the Robert Smiths of the world, the Richie Lou Dennises of the world, contrary to popular belief, I admire a lot of things about Kim Kardashian because she's the ultimate businesswoman, right? I look at Oprah, I look at Issa Rae, like I follow these people. And when I say follow them, I follow their journeys and their stories and how they got to where they are. And then I look at them as motivation because I know that if they can do it, then I can do it. So if you are an entrepreneur, read up on the people that you want to be in the same room with, right? Read up on the people that you want to have businesses like. If you have a restaurant, read up on a Pinky Cole. Read up on the people who are in the restaurant industry that you admire. If you want to sell clothes, like read up on the people who are in the industry that you are in so that you can learn their blueprint and maybe tweak your own blueprint and figure out how you can get to where you are. Where you want to be. It's really not that difficult. Now that I'm transitioning over to the other side from just a dreamer to the actual doer, I realize that all it requires is execution and research, right? If you research the things that you want and execute it, you're going to get it and deposit those things in your mind. I had to alter the music that I listened to the people that I talk to and talk about, the people that I surround myself around, right? Like, don't come around me with gossip. Don't come around me talking about things that aren't relevant to my future. Like, if we aren't building, then you breaking me. If you ain't building me, you breaking me. So I'm making sure that I'm surrounding myself with the right people, researching the right people so that I can ultimately execute the right things and get to where I'm going. So entrepreneurs, I hope you took that gem, because the formula is very, very easy. We all have the same 24 hours a day, and it's not always going to be easy, right? It's going to be difficult sometimes, but easy and hard is just a mindset, right? If you feel like it's going to be easy, it's going to be easy, even if you see a challenge. And that's how I move and I operate in my life. And you should too. The single most important advice that I would give to my younger self is don't change a thing. You know, people always think that you have to like tell your younger self something different, do something different, but I wouldn't change nothing. And I wouldn't change anything because life happened the exact way that it was supposed to happen. And I would let people know that like your journey is already written. So there's nothing that you in the flesh could change. There's nothing that you in the flesh could alter. Just go with the flow and understand that like, as long as you are consistent with the things that you want, whatever that story is, good, better, and different, it's just making you stronger. It's making you wiser. It's making you better. So that is what I would definitely tell my younger self. Don't do nothing different. You're going to fall on your face. You're going to fail. You're going to get your heart broken. You're going to lose some friends. You're going to have people lie on you, lie to you. You're going to go flat broke. You're going to have a lot of money. You're going to mismanage your money, right? Like, you are going to question and doubt yourself half the time, but it's okay. Don't change those things. It's really just building up your resilience and your strength.
Yeah, I think I needed to hear that for sure. But while I have you, I would love to know, is there like one book that you would recommend?
I have a book coming out this year as well. It's called Eat Plants, but it's a cookbook. So if you are a foodie and you like to eat, please make sure you get that. And that's officially coming out in November.
Amazing. Okay. Eat Plants November for everybody watching. I'm so excited for those books. But now I want to talk a little bit about your foundation. So as part of the Pinky Co Foundation, you've helped struggling businesses pay their rent during the pandemic. You've provided financial support for the family of Rayshard Brooks and so much more. So can you tell us a bit about your foundation and how you go about choosing where to place your hands in the community, where to place your efforts?
So I started my foundation in 2019. And it was really a way to just bridge that generational wealth gap. Oftentimes in our community, we talk about lack of resources and lack of information. So I wanted to be that source of information for my people, simply put. So we've done so much, from giving out fruits and vegetables to providing lights for families to providing opportunities to second chance offenders with the Department of Juvenile Justice, and really just like anchoring people to learn more about financial literacy and mental health through our life insurance program that we partner with Prudential, donating cars and just telling people that we got you, right? Like, we can't do everything, but we can support you where we can. And you know, that's my favorite part of doing all of this, because to know that I can put a smile on somebody's face is really game changing for me, because my resources did that. My platform did that. The foundation did that. And we got a long way to go. Like, we literally put our locations in areas where people need us. And then we realized, okay, how can we support this community? How can we help? How can we make this work and make the community better? So we always absolutely find ways to do that. And the people see it, and it just feels good to be able to do that with the resources that we have through the foundation.
Awesome. That's amazing. So now I want to switch the topic a bit and talk about fashion. You have officially launched the first ever PETA approved vegan sneaker collaboration with Steve Madden. Like, can we talk about that? What was that process like?
I'm so elated about this opportunity. First of all, we sold out in the first 48 hours on stevemadden.com with the shoe. And how the idea came about is I was actually on a Zoom with some other entrepreneurs and CEOs, and Steve Madden himself was on that Zoom. And one thing about me is I'm a seasoned opportunity. So he was on the Zoom and I said, hey, Steve, I got an idea. You don't know who I am, but we need to do this. This will be big for the culture. It's necessary. And y'all don't have a vegan shoe like that. So let's do it. And he was with it. And it took a year for us to get through the process, but down to the design, to the assets, to the feel, to the tone. We went through every single phase of that. And it felt like, wow, this is something, who would have thought that I'd be able to do this just off burgers, pies, and fries. So when we launched, it was such a huge launch. We got a lot of press for it. And PETA to back us just felt really, really good. And shout out to PETA. They are the best. And I'm excited about the fact that we're showing entrepreneurs that you don't have to compartmentalize yourself. You don't have to sit in one box and just do this one thing. Just because you got a restaurant, you got to stay in the restaurant industry. You ain't got to do that. You can step outside the box and do all the things that you ever dreamed of. All I'm doing is doing everything that I think about. And I'm doing it under the Slutty Vegan umbrella. And entrepreneurs should do it too. Here you have Slutty Vegan. And then I'm creating all of these channels under Slutty Vegan to not only just make revenue, but to create opportunity for other people. And I continue to do that, which is why we continue to stay relevant in the media. And it's fun and it's dope to say, okay, Slutty Vegan got a shoot. Now Slutty Vegan got a TV show. Now Slutty Vegan got a documentary. Oh, Slutty Vegan got a record label. Slutty Vegan, like so many things we can do under this umbrella. And Steve Madden was one of them. And it was just amazing. And I'm looking forward to doing more work with them in the future. They're such a great company, such a great brand. And hopefully all my vegans and non-vegans alike will purchase online at sluttyvegan.shop. We have a few left, but we're almost out and I'm happy about that.
Okay, I thought they were sold out. I'm gonna go check out the site after this is done, but that's huge. I don't know if I can say I'm proud of you, but like, congratulations. It's amazing. And I hope you guys are really listening because she's dropping some gems. The courage that you had to, in that call, see, like, there's a person here, I have a vision and I'm gonna make this happen. Let me say what I gotta say and hope that something comes from it. You know, that takes a lot of courage and I really applaud you for that. So dropping gems, you guys. But now let's talk about Black love. You and your partner, Derek Hayes. Derek Hayes is the owner of Big Dave's Cheesesteaks here in Atlanta, Georgia. Also a restaurateur. And the two of you graced the cover of Essence magazine in a special edition and were called the Millionaires Next Door. So, and you were also called the Keepers of Culture. So yeah, can you talk to me a little bit about Black love and what it was like to have yours highlighted?
Black love is so cool. This is the first time in my life that I've been in a relationship with somebody who's in the same exact field I'm in. So to be able to do life literally and figuratively with somebody who understands your struggles, your strengths, your pains, your weaknesses, professionally and personally, that is oh my gosh, it's like, it makes life so much easier. So like when I'm being a worker bee, like he's not like, all right, stop working, because he's a worker bee too. And we can both work hard together. And although we come from two totally different worlds, he's from Philly, I'm from Baltimore. He's a meat eater, I'm not. He sells meat for a living. I don't sell meat at all, and I don't want it next to me. We don't use that as judgment, but we're able to come together and accept each other's flaws, accept each other's lifestyles, and we're really, really friends. So, you know, I'm happy to be in love, you know, to be in love and to have a multi-million-dollar business and to be growing and to be a mom and to get to do all of these things at the same time. And it's not feeling like, okay, I got to choose one. That to me is like priceless. And I'm like, God, I don't know what I did, but thank you. So as you know, I'm currently pregnant for the second time and I'm about to give birth in less than a month. So obviously you can tell that, you know, we've been hot in the kitchen, but love is in the air. And I hope that people see us as an example of like true agape love. He is my best friend. And I'm looking forward to continuing doing life with him and building our family and our generational wealth.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Congratulations to you too. How did you guys meet?
So I slid in his DM. I always joke about his mine, but I sent him a message. So when George Floyd riots happened, somebody busted his windows, and I sent a message to him and say, "Hey, from one entrepreneur to an entrepreneur, if you need some financial support fixing your windows, I can help you." Obviously, I figured that he didn't need the help, and he said no, he didn't need help. But we ended up connecting. We went out to lunch, and we were just friends at first for a while, and that friendship really turned into love. And we didn't anticipate it. We weren't looking for it. I wasn't looking to be in a relationship with anybody else. And it just happened that way. And that's how life is sometimes. Life just happens. And when life happens, you just got to roll with the punches. And I did that. And now I'm very happy. We just purchased a house last year. We own a couple businesses together. We've been building together. We've been doing all of the things that we wanted to see growing up. And now we get to do it and be the example for other people.
Yeah. And I love that you use the term agape love. That's so beautiful. But being that you both are restaurateurs, I know you got a vegan restaurant, he has a non-vegan restaurant. What kind of struggles have you two had to face?
We haven't, we thought we were private with our relationship for quite some time, but we thought that it was going to be an issue in the media because, I am this glorified vegan and he is the cheesesteak king. But what I realized is this is no different from people who think differently, from somebody who's a Muslim and somebody who's a Christian. That don't mean that we can't coexist because we don't believe in the same things, right? And I think that we are sending a message to people around the world that you don't have to think the same as the next person. You don't have to be the same. You can do your own thing and y'all can still coexist in the same places and have an amicable relationship. And that's what we're doing. And nobody even talks about it, which I'm happy about. But if they did, I would explain the same thing. Like, we aren't all one person, right? We live in such a progressive world that people can make their own decisions. They can live their own lives without judgment. And I am not one to judge, right? Like, if you don't want to eat vegan, that's up to you. But I will make sure that you eat healthier. And that's what I get to do in our household. Like, I'll slip him vegan food and he'll eat it and not know it's vegan, right? And it's cool because he's open to also opening his consciousness. So although he sells cheesesteaks, he's been living more of a pescatarian lifestyle. And trying to figure out ways how he can be healthier as well. And I get to help him do that.
I love that. And I think Slutty Vegan itself is a pretty progressive brand. And therefore, the followers of Slutty Vegan, the fans of Slutty Vegan may also be pretty progressive. So I would hope that, you guys don't get any sort of backlash about that, because people could be different and still be in love, So I love that for y'all. I really do. But you're going to have your baby very soon, and you also already have a daughter. So how do you handle running a multi-million-dollar business and motherhood? What has that experience been like? And it's just the fact that you're here right now, about to have a baby, like, you're doing it. But
as you can see, I'm yawning every 5 minutes. That's because I'm about to have a baby and I'm always tired now. It's catching up with me now. But it's hard. I'm not going to lie. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because when I work all day, every day, and I come home and I get to see my baby, it's the most beautiful feeling in the world. And I look at her and I'm like, okay, I already got enough motivation, but she just added some more motivation to me because I want her to know that she can have anything in the world because mommy got it. and if she wants to chill out and sit down and not do nothing, which will never be the case, she can. But I'm setting my baby up right. And I'm also looking forward to meeting my son for the first time. And when they grow older, they know how many sacrifices mommy made. I do have help, and help is really good. And I commend all the mothers who don't have help, because I don't know how I would survive if I didn't have any help. But I have people helping and supporting me so that I can follow my dreams and do what I want to do in business. But, it's an adjustment, right? Like, I'm a new mom. I'm still trying to figure it out. When I had my first baby, I didn't even know how to change diapers. So can you imagine? So in a year, I've been able to learn that. I'm learning how to be a mom. I'm learning the things that people don't really talk about because this is the piece that they're ashamed of, but I'm learning it and I'm not perfect. But I think that my daughter sees me and she recognizes that mommy is trying. And I'm happy about that. And I'm looking forward. She just started walking, so I'm looking forward to her getting older so she can go on mommy and me dates. And yeah, it's cool. I love being a mom. I never imagined that I would be. So to be able to have two back to back, it's just like, oh, you like a mom. I'm like a real mom. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to meeting my son and, going with the flow.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Do you think you're going to raise them to be vegan? Is your daughter already vegan?
Both of them will be vegan, and my daughter is vegan. So for the non-vegans that live in my house, I'm like, don't feed my baby that. My baby does not eat that. So they are also trying to adjust because, some people don't really know what's vegan and not vegan. And it's my responsibility to educate the people around me, and I get to do that.
If you were a Slutty Vegan burger, which one would you be and why?
If I was a Slutty Vegan burger, I would be the sloppy toppy because I'm spicy. I'm sweet, but I'm spicy. and I'll linger on you for a while. If you ever come into a room with me, I'm going to resonate with your spirit. And that's exactly what the sloppy toppy does, because it's spicy. So you can feel that flavor on your mouth, and you're going to feel my flavor when you see me in person. So I am definitely a sloppy toppy.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. I was like, I don't know how she's going to answer this one, but perfect way to answer that. But okay, so you seem to stay booked and busy. And you kind of already gave us an intro to what a day in your life looks like, but what are some of the challenges that come up for you just being, as busy as you are? Is it as easy as people may think, kind of being your own boss? Or what would you tell people about the life being your own boss?
It is very difficult to be an entrepreneur. So you may see the lights and you may see the final products, but to get there, it is a lot of hard work. And for me now, it's a lot of mental strain. And thinking about things. Like, I get paid to think now, right? It's not so much of the physical piece of me, but delegating and making sure that people are doing the right things and checking on them. I'm like a professional babysitter, right? And because, quite frankly, I'm still a control freak because this is my baby and I didn't start this company for money. It gets hard sometimes because I like things the way that I like them. And everybody doesn't understand when you set a standard, you got to keep that standard. So for people who are entrepreneurs, there will be ebbs and flows, but you get to learn from those experiences. Like, everything that I ever went through, I didn't look at as a problem. I looked at it as an opportunity. And I have a saying, when things like this happen, we put policy in place. So I use every example that happens in my business to be able to do things differently in the future and to do them better. So yeah, entrepreneurship is just that. You can take the easy way out if you want to work a 9 to 5, and not that is always going to be easy either, but I didn't want to take that route. I wanted to take the route where I make the decisions and I call the shots, and calling the shots sometimes is hard, because you may not always make the right decisions. I'm not going to sit here and say I make the right decisions 100% of the time, but 99.9% I follow my gut. And I always make the right decision that serves me the best and serves the business. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really insightful. I think like millennials, Gen Z, so many of us desire the lifestyle of being your own boss. And it's so new, honestly. Like, a lot of our parents grew up, or a lot of our parents, we saw them working a 9 to 5 as we grew up. So we don't really know what it means to be your own boss, but I'm sure it's not easy. You still have to be a leader. You still have to answer to the hard tasks and push yourself to do those. So yeah, I think that's great advice for sure.
Absolutely.
Before we finish up our questions, like, can you tell us where would you see yourself in 10 years? And then what can we look forward to next from you?
Well, in the next 10 years, Pinky Cole will be one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the country. I would have built a $1 billion brand, and probably working on my third $1 billion brand at that point. I will be a philanthropist, continue to be a philanthropist, and utilize my earnings from the business to be able to make change and impact in the world, in America and overseas. I will raise my family to the best of my ability and travel the world, because I can't wait to do that and backpack. So 10 years, that is what I see. So I got a long way to go. So I got to get to work.
That was our last question, but now I'm wondering, like, how do you go about daily meditation or like ritual or affirmation? You seem very in tune with yourself and creating your own reality. So what advice would you give to people who kind of want to become more in tune with manifesting their own?
You got to be mindful of what you consume. That's food, that's energy, that's people, that's music. I'm mindful of who I keep around me. Like, I can't have negative energy around me. I'm an empath, so I feel everything. So you got to come with your positive juju all the time, because if you don't, it'll make me sad. So how I meditate by like always thinking about the positive, even if it feels ugly. And some days are uglier than others, but I always try to find the joy in the things that make me happier. I'm mindful of what I consume. I don't watch TV, right? I watch podcasts. I listen to podcasts, YouTubes. Like, I want to make sure that I'm consuming the good energy, the right food, so that I can maneuver through my day in a positive way, because I have so much stuff going on, it's so easy for that shift to happen. And I got to be mindful of that shift, because I can't pour from an empty cup, right? My cup has to be glass half full or even more than that, so that I can be able to pour into other people. And I can't do that if I have all this negative energy around me. So that's my form of meditation. That's how I stay positive. And even moments where I catch myself not being positive, I sit back and say, okay, all right, you got all these blessings. There's people that's waiting in line to take this opportunity that you got to back it on up, and you got to find the glory in your story and be positive no matter what, even though it gets hard. And then I'll also say that Beyonce song has really been on my playlist on repeat, because it just makes me feel good. And I love music that makes you uplift and feel good all the time.
I love that. It's You Won't Break My Soul, right?
I love
awesome.
It.
Oh,
that's
okay.
my favorite song right now.
I love, a lot of her music lately has been very empowering. So I love that one. It's going to be the new summer tune. But yes, this has been so amazing. Thank you for sitting with me through this conversation. And I hope you guys watching have taken notes, because Pinky dropped so many gems today.
Thank you for having me. And I'm looking forward to making more Slutty Vegans, and for you to come to them and try them out. Can't wait.
Yes, awesome. All right, have a great day.
All right, thank you. Bye.